Okay, guys, welcome back. I'm back. Oh my God, this feels so weird. Like a whole new set, new team, and new me. Maybe not, still the same old me. But guys, I am back with a brand new season of Head Over Heels. It has been a long time coming. I have been waiting for this day for a long time, just as much as you have been waiting as well. Does that even make sense? But that's not the point. I feel like I haven't spoken to the mic for like very long, so I feel like I don't know how to structure words anymore. Wow. Okay, I need a moment. I need a moment. I know this is just a pilot episode, but do you guys miss me? I feel like you do. I miss y'all so much. If there is one thing that I really knew that I wanted being away is I knew I want to come back. So yeah, miss podcasting. I miss talking to you guys, but your girl is back. How many times have I said that? Anyway, so let's catch up. What's been up? Okay, first of all, I think maybe I want to talk about why I was away and why I came back, right? So the last time you heard from me was December 2023. And it has been 8 months since, or maybe 9 months by the time this episode comes out. Or maybe 10 months. I don't know. I don't know when I'm putting it out, but I'm just going to record it anyway. A lot has happened. And the break was very intentional. Like I knew at the end of last year, after everything that has happened, you guys know what happened. I feel like I needed a reset button. I feel like I needed to kind of like start fresh. And by wanting to start fresh, that also means kind of like resetting everything in my life. It was just like a personal project, you know? So I thought I made the hard executive decision to kind of reset the podcast at the same time. And that also means saying goodbye to the people I used to work with and kind of like graduating, you know, like I mentioned in the last podcast. If you haven't listened to it, go catch up. It's in the last previous episode, 8 months ago. I decided to want to take a quick break. And that quick break turned out to be 8 months. That's it. I knew I was going to come back. Like there was never an intention to never come back. In fact, the intention has always to come back. And I'm back. I'm so happy to be here. It feels weird. We're still figuring out everything, by the way. Like I don't even have my sign up just yet. We haven't figured out if we want it standing or we want it on the wall. But the whole point is this, right, guys? Like I think in life, we've learned so much. We've grown so much together in the past 4 years that at this point, I have come to accept that in life, sometimes it's not about doing things perfectly. It's really just starting and figuring out along the way. And I've told that to you guys many times before. So this time it's really me taking my advice and really kind of like practice what I preach. Even our mic, guys, we're still figuring out down to little details which mic to use because if I do this, listen, you can hear everything. So I need to invest in a new mic eventually. I need to invest in another camera. Like there is so much to podcasting, guys. Like I don't even know if I can do a whole episode about it, but there's actually so much more that I still have to figure out. But I knew that if I waited till I'm ready, this first episode is never going to happen. And a lot of people around me has just been like, you know, you say you want to start again so long already. You say how many times already you still haven't started. So I'm just going to start and figure it out. And here I am. And if I sound a little bit funny, guys, there is a story behind it. So I'm a bit nasally. I sound like I've got flu. That's because I am. The reason behind it is embarrassing, but I'm about to tell you something. So, a couple of days ago, before this day, I think I'm recording on a Friday evening. It's raining outside. Therefore, I decided to go with this sweater. So, a couple of days ago, I decided to, for fun, there was no reason for me to do it, wax my nose hair. Yes, laugh. Everyone is laughing. I decided to, hey, nose hair wax, 35 ringgit. Hey, not bad. I never do before. Let's give it a try. Little did I know, an hour after I started sniffling. My flu arrived. This time it arrived with a vengeance. And I tell you, it's really like turning on a tap that just never goes away. And it has been 3 full days of me sniffling like this, but I'm not going to give a shit about it. I'm going to continue recording. You just hear me differently, different version of my voice. But guys, don't wax your nose hair. I've done a bit of research as well. I have to share it with you guys. So turns out waxing your nose hair could be the worst thing you could ever do for yourself. Unless except your doctor says you need to do so, okay? If not, don't fucking do it. Like, don't be random like me and don't fucking wax your nose hair, okay? So nose waxing can be uncomfortable because you are literally ripping out the hair out of your freaking nostril that's already so sensitive. And the pulling sensation can actually cause some sort of irritation, which I think wasn't what happened to me because I felt like they did it pretty well. But you know, if you go to someone that just freaking fucks it up and simply put like hot ass wax, you can actually hurt the lining of your your nose. So don't do that. But guys, I never really thought about this, but the primary role of nose hair is actually to trap dust, pollen, and other airborne particles in the air so that the air you breathe is partially filtered. So I essentially removed the natural filter of my nose. So now I am breathing in dirty ass air. Guys, it is very sunful, you know. Actually, like when I'm in an aircon room, I really feel like it's unfiltered air. Like I feel like it goes straight up to my freaking brain and it's not nice at all. And I miss my nose hair. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I miss my nose hair and it's going to take another month or 2 for it to grow out. I am so angry. But that is one of the silly things I've done this week. Well, it's such as life, right? Like so much has really happened in the past 8 months. Like I don't even know where to start. So I'm going to start off with that nose hair thing. So yes, conclusion is don't freaking wax your nose hair unless you have to. If anything, just trim it. If you got like 1 or 2 strands coming out, just freaking trim it. Don't wax the whole bunch out. Like, in fact, a lot came out. I don't know. I have a video about it. Maybe I can show you guys. Follow us on Instagram. I hope by the time this episode comes out, we hit 10,000 followers. 50 more to go, guys. 50 more to go. Okay. So I also put up a question poll on my Instagram to ask you guys what I should be talking about because, to be very honest, I am clueless. I do not know what I want to talk about. I do not know where to start, but let's just start with how has everything been for the past 8 months? I think really did not feel like 8 months at all. So I've been traveling a lot. Like if there's anything that was different this year compared to last year, is that I don't think I've traveled this much in my life within the span of a year, I mean. So in the beginning of the year, I was in Sydney and then I was in Bangkok, went to Langkawi for a bit. And then I was in Bhutan. After Bhutan, 2 weeks later, I was in Japan. And then after 2 weeks later, I was in Hong Kong. And one day after Hong Kong, I was in Seoul. And then now I'm back and next week, I'm going away again. So that's how frequent I've been traveling and which is why it took me so long to come back with the podcast. Anyway, yeah. Another question you asked was, what was your win over the past 8 months? I thought about it. I don't really have an answer. I feel like I am still living life. I'm still taking one step at a time. But I went back to my journal. Earlier this year in January, I decided to sit myself down and write some wishes and notes and dreams of the things that I wanted this year. And for the first time since January, I sat down, opened the book again, and had a look at it. 8 months later. And it could be of a goosebump, you know? Like sometimes you don't remember what you write, and then when you read back, it's like, oh, have I fulfilled it? Or is it something that I'm still trying to achieve? So the first question of the prompt, you know how journals these days have prompts? It says, what brings me the most fulfillment in life? And it says, when I get to do what I love and be with the people I love the most. And I have to say, I get to do what I love Very much so. In the past 8 months, I've been doing the things that I love, be with the people that I love, all my friends, my loved ones, my family. I think that's been really great. And sometimes living life off the grid is pretty good because I didn't have my podcast. A lot of the things I had to kind of let go. Before this, when I had my podcast, when it was still around, I kind of write down notes every day when I travel, exactly what happens so that I can podcast it later. But if anything, the last 8 months, I kind of let it go a little bit. I will just remember what I remember, really not down to the littlest details, but because if I do remember the littlest details, it's because it means a lot. And I think really living life as you go and not having to report it, not having to, I don't know, some sort of perform because I know I have to come back and tell a story, right? It was quite liberating. It was quite nice. It was quite nice. Not to say that I hate doing it, but like it was like a task that I didn't have to do, so I could really be in the moment during my travels, especially Bhutan. Oh my God. Actually, a lot of you guys really wanted to know how that trip was. I would love to tell you all about it, but that calls for a solo freaking episode. So yeah, I think I traveled so much that I don't even know where to start with my travel stories, but that would be one of it. So yeah, I've been doing what I love doing with the people that I love. And this second prompt really gave me a bit of a goosebump. It says, what will my ideal 2024 look like? And this was what I wrote, actually. It will be even better than 2023. I will continue to soar and experience more big jobs and press trips. I will meet someone that will heal my heart. Oh, Maggie. And I will travel a lot more and have more solo trips. This was what I wrote in January before my first trip of the year. And guys, since then, I've been to Sydney, I've been to Bangkok, I've been to Langkawi doesn't really count. Bhutan, solo. Japan, Hong Kong, where else? Korea, solo. Like, whoa, it's so crazy to read that out loud because I feel like I'm literally living the words that I was writing, which makes me really believe in manifesting. I think I talked about this before. Like, manifesting is not just like saying something and wishing it will happen, but like saying something, but making sure you work towards it. Like, you take the steps that leads you towards the thing that you want to manifest. For example, I wanted to travel. So I did a lot more travel content. My own travel first, and slowly more brands, I guess, noticed that I was doing travel stuff and they started sending me on trips. It's hella crazy, guys. Like, oh. So yes, don't stop manifesting. If you want something, go for it. Like, no one's going to stop you. The only person that can stop you is yourself. I think it's to a point where even my assistant and I, she like really like a running joke. She's like, Maggie, you need to stop manifesting because it's really happening. Everything you say is happening. It's crazy. But like, no girl, I'm not going to stop manifesting. So my next manifestation is I want to be a billionaire. Okay, no, wait. I want to be a millionaire. I feel like you don't need that much money in your life. I think being a billionaire, it's too much pressure on someone. I just want to be a millionaire next door. You know, like girl next door? Like very low key, but millionaire next door. Guys, do I make sense? Maksudnya? Maksudnya, you just want to be a low key millionaire. Like Tai Tai. You know what? Speaking of Tai Tai, I had this conversation with my friend the other day. She's like, oh, so many girls would dream to be a Tai Tai. I don't know if I want to be a Tai Tai. Do you guys know what a Tai Tai is? How do I explain what a Tai Tai is?
Trophy wife?
Trophy wife? Yeah, because for me, Tai Tai is someone who marries a rich man and live off the rich man's money. Correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a new term for like self-made Tai Tais?
Let's make one.
Yeah.
That's, it's not, it could be like you're just living life, they don't need to care about money. It doesn't have to be from man.
Oh, right. So it doesn't have to be from men. But I don't know. Like, I guess the Tai lifestyle is a lot of people's ideal. But I do think that I feel like I would be one of those auntie down the road if I'm 60 or 50. Or even if I'm a mom or grandmother, I feel like I'll still be working. You know, I say that now. I don't know. In 20 years, that might change. Yeah, I'm not sure about the Tai life. Like, wake up for Pilates, very demure, very cutesy. For your manicure, very demure, very cutesy. Go for a meal at high tea with your girlfriends, very demure, very cutesy. But like, so fucking boring. Like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like I need to accomplish things. I think that's just my nature. I feel like doing, okay, Pilates, you can accomplish some movements, but like having the same routine every single day, it's just not for me. Like, it's just boring. I need newness in my day. I need excitement. I can't do routine things. Like, too routine, just, I'll get bored and then I'll just lose interest and I'll lose my spark. And I feel like in life, I cannot. The reason why I'm just always on the go, I think that's just also my personality. I need to always achieve something. What's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? Maybe a bit of an overachiever, but I mean, that's just me. You don't have to. If you like the Tai life, girl, go for it. I'll happily support you. I mean, like, be happy for you. I don't know how I can support you. Be happy for you. But like, for me, the Tai life, at the moment, at this point of time, it's not for me. I would like to have a partner who's like equally as ambitious as me and like worked together towards the life we want. Yeah. Okay. I also wrote this in my journal, okay? The one thing I really wanted to accomplish this year was to rebrand Head Over Heels and bring it to new heights. To be the best podcast in the region. I said region. Guys, this girl's so ambitious, my goodness. I haven't even started like 3 episodes yet. But all it takes is 1, right? So yeah, I feel like a lot of the things that I wrote in January, 8 months later, I feel like I really worked towards it. Like the whole rebranding podcast, it's back before the year ends, so I'm quite proud of myself. I could have really well delayed it till next year, but I didn't. Yeah. But I guess my biggest win, to answer your question, I think my biggest win is I realize how important it is. No, I realize how important my relationship with myself is. I think the one thing I never stopped doing was to continue to invest in myself, like continue to go to therapy, continue to have hard conversation. And that really, like in accumulation, I realized how good that has made me. Like in terms of, having an argument with someone, I realized I'm no longer the same version of myself before. And like I like myself. I like the person that I am. Maybe not everyone likes me, but that's not the point. Like I don't like everyone, so I don't expect everyone to like me. But most importantly, I gotta be head over heels for myself. Like if I can't like myself, how can I expect people to like me? Right? Let's just start from there. So yeah, I do like myself. And I like myself enough to walk away from situations that's not good for me. And I think a good example is really also like if a job pays good, but I know it does not align with who I am, the me now can walk away. Like I can, like, yeah, that's not for me. But the older me, the younger me would be like, oh, but it's the money. But oh, it's this. Oh, but what if they don't like me because I rejected them? No. Walk away from places or situations that's not for you. That I could do. And I also like myself enough to better myself, to want to be better. Like going to therapy or like working out or like invest in a new skill, like learning Korean. Like I like myself enough to want to spend time to make myself better. I think that's something that not a lot of people think about, I guess. Like liking yourself is not not being self-centered, not in a vain way like, oh, I like myself. I look hot, I look pretty, I love my brows. No. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about liking yourself enough to be a better version of yourself. Yeah, like what I've just said. Because I also say this because I remember all those times where I really didn't like myself. Like I don't like myself, therefore, like I was seeking validation everywhere and from everyone just so that I can have a reason to like me. Oh, if this cool person likes me, then I'm cool. I wish I didn't think that way. But, that's all part of growing up, right? Like I was so desperate for people's like not literal like, but even though now it's a literal like, which is crazy, right? that, yeah, that was what I was doing because I didn't like myself. So I can sit here now and tell you guys, hey, kind of like myself. And again, not in a vain pot kind of way. It's in a self-assuring, self-confident kind of way. And I hope that could be for you too, something for you to think about. Sometimes like resolution for the year or what I want for myself this year doesn't need to be exterior. It doesn't need to be owning a house, buying a car, or like travel to 10 countries. It could really start from yourself because actually, this is such a good quote. I feel like I should bring this in now, even though, yeah. So this is for those of you who feel lost about yourself. You feel like, yeah, I don't like myself because you're not really spending time and investing in yourself. So if you don't know what to pursue in life right now, pursue yourself. Pursue becoming the healthiest, happiest, most healed, most present, most confident version of yourself, and the right path will reveal itself. That's kind of what I'm going for. Like when you start investing in yourself, the right opportunities will also present itself. I think a very good example is like when I learned my Korean. I didn't learn it just so I could prove anyone anything. In fact, I didn't tell anyone that I was learning Korean for the past 1 year. I kind of kept that a little secret for myself to kind of like, just for myself. But then when an opportunity finally came for me to interview Kim Sono all the way in South Korea, I'm like, oh my God. Like, but I didn't do it because of that, because that didn't exist. But that quote that I just read to you just makes so much sense. Pursue yourself, invest in yourself, and the right things that's for you will present itself. The path will reveal itself. Also, I think a lot of my listeners that's been like dropping me DMs, a lot of you guys are like fresh grad or like in your early 20s, and you're in that transition of your life where you're going from going to school every day, doing assignments, to going to the real world, working well, and sometimes you don't know what the heck you want to do. And that's fine. If you don't know what you want to do what you enjoy first. And as you move along, you'll figure out the right path that's for you. I didn't know radio was going to be my calling. I was in a pageant, but I knew that I liked talking. Then the opportunity presented itself. So yeah, you guys get what I'm saying, right? Cool. Next. So if there's one reminder I want to drop you guys is start investing in yourself. It could really be anything, like starting to go to the gym, sign up for a gym membership, or learning a new skill, learn a new language, or I don't know, take up a course, go on a trip. Go on a solo trip. Highly recommend. I've recommended many times and I've gone on many ones since. And a lot of you do ask me like, how do you do things by yourself, Maggie? Like, it's so hard for me. Like, I don't know how to do things by myself. What more going on a solo trip? All I can say is my first solo trip was not by choice. I think if you've been here for a long time, if you are an OG, maybe you will have some context. It was supposed to be a trip with someone, but that relationship ended, and I didn't want to go on the trip with that someone because it's going to get things complicated. So I made the decision to not go with that someone and made it a solo trip instead. Because if that thing didn't happen, I probably would not have gone on that solo trip, which led me to many more others. So I would say, don't wait for the right moment, like just go for it. And if you really don't like solo tripping, yeah, that's fine. Then it's not for you. I do think that solo tripping is not for everyone, even though I do think that everyone should give it a try at least once, at least you know it's for you or not. But there are also so many different factors. It really depends where you go. Like for instance, I just came back from Seoul, South Korea, like the most hyped place. Everyone loves Korea. And I've always wanted to go. But don't hate me for this, guys. But I did not really enjoy Seoul this time the way I expected myself to enjoy it. Like the hype was so real. Like, oh, South Korea, Seoul, Seoul, Seoul. But I think Seoul, compared to Japan, I feel like Maybe the weather. Oh my God, the weather really fucking killed me. It was so hot every single day. It says 33 degrees, but it feels like a 40. And like, I just walked 10 steps and I'm like sweating buckets. It was just not comfortable once. So definitely not in the summer. I would never go again in the summer unless it's for work. And I had no choice, right? It was for work. So like, I'm so grateful I get to be sent to Korea. So like, I'm not even complaining, but I'm just saying, if I want to spend money on flight tickets to go to Korea or Japan for that matter, it will not be summer. So bloody hot. And another thing that was difficult, like in Japan, if you missed out on this, I talked about this in my solo episode to Japan. It was so solo travel friendly because everywhere you go, there is portion for one. In fact, there's cubicles everywhere. Even if you go in groups, you don't actually need to eat. You don't actually get to eat together. You will be eating by yourself. But in Korea, it's almost like the opposite. Or maybe I didn't know how to go to places. I couldn't really speak the language yet, right? Most of the restaurants actually serve for like big parties, like 3 people and above, 2 people and above. So the first kimchi jjigae that I ordered was like for 3 to 4 people, and I struggled to finish it. But since then, I learned my lesson. I did ask like, 1인분 있어요? Like if it's, you have portion for one person. But like it takes an extra effort to have to Google and check if it's for one person, even though maybe there's something you really like, maybe they don't serve for one person, then you kind of be disappointing that you have to go somewhere else and try to search all over again. And y'all know that Google Maps doesn't work in Korea, right? Like you have to use, was it Naver? Naver? Yeah, you have to use like a completely different app altogether. And I actually asked why, I asked my Korean friend. I don't know if this is true, correct me if I'm wrong. The reason why South Korea does not use Google Maps is because they don't want North Korea to know their important locations, their landmarks. Because Google Maps is accessible to everyone, but not Naver. Only when you're in Seoul or you're in South Korea, you can access Naver. So like important landmarks, like important location of important buildings, like government buildings or whatever, they don't want North Korea to know. I don't know if that's true. You see, you learn new things every day. But if I'm wrong, please correct me. Just let me know. But this was what my local friend told me. Apparently like this is what they say, they think, which is so cool. But also a bit annoying because now, but I mean, if anything, it's actually very user-friendly. Naver is pretty good. Tells you exactly where to go. Like if you're on the train, like you will know exactly which stop you're at and it will notify you, okay, next stop is your stop. I think that's way better than Google Maps in comparison. So no complaints. But I just thought at first before going to Korea, I was like, I don't know how to use another app. So mafan, have to download again. But it's not that bad. But yes, I will never go again willingly, voluntarily in the summer because it's hella hot. Difficult, so difficult. Okay, next question. Maggie, can you talk about this if you don't mind? Are you still working on Motion Lab with your ex-partner? Okay, I think this one I can finally address. I've not talked about it at all because I kind of wanted it low-key. But I am no longer part of Motion Lab. In fact, I actually decided to leave end of last year. So as of January 2024, I'm no longer part of Motion Lab. It was one of the most difficult decision I've had to make. I was really sad for a very long time because it was such a big part of my life for like 4 years. Which brings me back to the whole reset button, right? Like I just needed everything to be reset. So this was part of my reset button as well. As much as I love the team, as much as I love the community that I've built or we've built together, like I just knew that it was not my calling. It was something that we did together, but now that we're no longer together, I feel like there are other things I would love to pursue, like this podcast, and other things I would like to put my blood, sweat, and tears in. And it wasn't that anymore. So yeah, Motion Lab is still running. I'm still so very proud of the team. They will always have a special place in my heart, especially the community. I love them all. And I hope that they're still, enjoying their classes at Motion Lab. But yeah, I'm just no longer part of it, but the brand is still there. something I'll always be proud of. So I hope that answers your question. Next up, relationship and dating updates. I will just answer your question. I will not address anything about myself, not in this episode, maybe in one of the episodes in the season. I don't know, I just feel like some things I want to keep for myself this time. Like, and my previous relationship was so fucking public that I felt like everyone had an opinion about it. And when it ended, everyone had an opinion about it. And I just feel like, I don't want that anymore. If I'm single, if I'm not single, I feel like I'll tell you guys when I'm ready to tell. And it's something that I want to keep for myself. Yeah. So I'll talk about your relationships instead. How to get over a 3-year relationship. He found someone else immediately after. Oh, this is difficult. I feel like whether or not he found someone immediately after, whether or not that is real, is really, girl, none of your business. As much as it hurts you that this guy that you used to be with already found someone else before you do, it's really none of your business. Who knows? Maybe that could be the one for him because you guys didn't work out. But don't care. Like, the more you care, the more it's going to hurt you. And the more it's going to delay your moving on. You know, just move on. The only way to get over is to let time heal. There's no other way. I was in a 7-year relationship, and what helped me move on was time. And I guess everyone is so different. It really depends how your relationship is. I guess it's always harder to move on if the relationship was actually so good and nothing went wrong except, I don't know, long distance, except distance, except disapproval from parents. I think those relationships are harder to move on from. Like, I can understand because nothing really went wrong. Like, he was a great guy, she was a great girl. We were so good together. We never really fought, or even if we fought, it was healthy fight and we have such great communication. But we can't be together. Those are heartbreaking. Oof. Those are the hardest. But if it was a toxic relationship, like you guys clearly know you are not meant for each other, I think those are slightly easier to move on from. But I guess I don't even have an answer for you. The only way to move on is to really let time do the job for you. And definitely cut the person off out of your life, out of sight, out of mind. It really is a thing. Like, don't think about them. Don't even care about what they're doing, what they're eating, where they're going, who they're dating right now. Like, it's really none of your business anymore, girl. Like, you guys are over. So just move the fuck on. Sorry if that was rude. But some things need to be said, right? Like, my friend was also telling me, just move the fuck on. Every time I go through a breakup, it's always hard until a friend just slaps me in my face and like, yo, Max, move the fuck on. What do you want to do waiting here? He's going to come back? No. Which brings me to my next question, actually. Should you give your long-term ex of 7 years another chance? Or should you move on and live life? Now, here is my take. If something didn't work for 7 years, what makes you think it's going to work now? Like, what makes you think things are going to be different now? Just because clearly in the past 7 years is a long time. It didn't work. So what makes you think it's going to work in the next 7 days or 7 months? No, don't waste your time no more. Girl, our time is limited. And I say this for a reason, because our eggs are limited. I just found out that we only have 25,000 eggs in our lifetime. And menopause will happen for us eventually. And don't waste another year on this man if it doesn't work out now. Like, for what? What do you expect out of this if you go back, really? Like, can a person change in a couple of months? I don't think so. In fact, in a couple of years, they might not even change. Is that a risk you want to take? There's always a reason when something doesn't work out. That is what I truly believe in. It's really the universe, or whatever you believe in, or God, or the higher power, or just the world telling you it's not for you. When something does not work out, there will always be difficult. It will always be difficult. If it's not for you, it will never really be easy. I don't think I've ever had I don't think I've ever experienced something that's so good, so easy, and at the end of it, I realize it's not for me. I don't think I have. Most of the time when it's easy, when it feels right, it's for me. So if you're about to go back to that 7-year relationship without even experiencing life otherwise yet, I would say no, girl. Can I tell you to like not go back first? Not forever, but like experience something else first before going back. Like if you haven't even tried what's on the other side, how would you know? Like, no. I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you waste another 7 years. 7 years is long enough time to know whether or not something's going to work out. Okay? So try something else. Try and see what's on the other side. And then if still nothing, and if you guys are meant to be, you will be. Let him try on the other side also. And if both of you try on the other side and both doesn't work and you guys come back, fine. You are meant to be. But otherwise, if it's just been 7 days since you guys broke up, girl, don't be the Lulu. Just give yourself some time. If no one's telling you, I'm telling you, don't be the Lulu. It takes a long time to get over a relationship or breakup. So give yourself some time. Okay? Like, for real. Okay? All right. I guess that's it for today, guys. I feel like I've rambled quite a bit. I've updated you about life. I still haven't figured out what really I want to do. But I do have a direction for this episode. I do have a direction for this podcast. And tell me, what do you think of our new rebrand? I worked really hard, really long time. I started working on it since March, if anything, actually. Since March, April, I started working on it. Lots of back and forth, lots of trial and error. But I finally found the look that I want. And maybe I can break it down for you guys before I go. So, it's not on here yet, but if you're on our Instagram, by now you would have seen the new look. It's a whole different vibe from the old Head Over Heels. I think when I first started out this episode, I was that young, naive girl that was so hopeful of the world, like I was just like, oh, everything is great, everything is good. But I feel like, I'm not that I'm jaded, but I feel like I've lived a bit of life in the span of this podcast. As long as this podcast has lived, I've lived quite a bit also. And I realize sometimes life is not what you think it is. So I decided to want like a bit of more, I want the podcast to grow with you guys and grow with me. So I guess that's what happened. This new look, I feel like is that cool girl. Like I tell everyone this. It's like wholesome, but still badass bitch. Wholesome, but still a bad bitch. Like you can be hot, but still wholesome. It's not one or the other. You don't have to pick. You can be both in one. And that's what I want this podcast to be, right? Like I want to empower you girls to feel your absolute best. Because guys, if you're happy, if you feel good, you look good. Like I don't know how to explain this. It is a thing, I guess. So I hope I will be able to continue to accompany you guys in your drive back home, in your shower, while you do your laundry, while you listen to this with your friend or your boyfriend. That'd be so nice. Actually, a lot of guys been listening to this podcast, so that's pretty good as well. So what you can expect in the coming season is really not too different. I feel like I'll stick true to who I am or who I want to be, is to be the voice I've never had. We'll still have a lot of difficult conversation, hard-hitting truths. But if anything, I feel like I'll be less safe and really say it as it is, because I feel like I'm a bit more daring now. I feel like I like myself enough to just say the truth without worrying that I'll be offending anyone. It's like the people pleasing tendency in me since the first ever episode in season 1 versus now, she's toned down quite a bit. So if you don't like what I say, honestly, I don't give a shit. But if you like it, hey, come on, great. Hop along this ride and like just live life and learn and just, have fun. So yeah, I it's funny because actually at the point of this recording, I haven't even decided which is going to be my podcast jingle. So by the time this podcast comes out, it will have been finalized. And let me know what you guys think. There's actually so many elements to a podcast. There's the jingle, there's the branding, there's all these mic, like which cable do we use, like the backdrop, everything. So it's quite a lot of work. I am still a bit nervous. I don't know if I'll be able to figure it out, but I guess I'll figure out along the way. But yeah, that's it for today. I'm just happy to be back. I mean, guys, this is only the first episode. I need a bit of warm up anyway. I need to warm up. I feel like my gears are a little bit like rusty now. But I'm very sure that this will be a hell of a ride. It's going to be a fun season together. And I cannot wait to do more with you guys. And until then, my healers. Oh, I don't know if you guys like this. Can I call you guys healers? Hi, healers, like HEELERS. I think that's pretty cute. I've been thinking about a name to call you guys. Like headers is not nice. Like bit like PG-18. Healers, like healers. It's pretty cute. All right, healers. That's all for today. And like I always say, don't forget to fall head over heels for yourself first and always. And whatever you want to fall head over heels for, you fall, okay? Until then, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.